What are the best and worst Kamen Rider seasons of all time?
I'm a Kamen Rider.
Today we're going to rank every season of Kamen Rider in a tier list, along with some of the movies and the spin-offs. We've got S for perfection, A for amazing, B for good, C for mid, and D, which is just bad. Starting with the original Kamen Rider series. This is easily one of the most iconic series in the history of Toku. I love Takeshi Hongo's origin story and how he was turned into a cyborg. I think Shocker is easily one of the most iconic villain groups in all of fiction, not even just Toku, and the interaction between the double riders is super entertaining to watch. This show also has amazing music. This is essential Kamen Rider history, and it's going in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider V3, a show that was a direct sequel to the original series, and even brought back the double riders, albeit though not for very long. I really liked Shiro's origin, and of course the introduction of Rider Man, one of the most unique riders in the franchise. Anything with Hiroshi Miyauchi is entertaining, but I have to ding a few points off because of V3's suit design. It's just not really my favorite. That being said, this is a good show, and I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next up is Kamen Rider X, a series that I think is kinda underrated. I love the dark revenge story with Keisuke, his father, the way they're betrayed, and of course the Government of Darkness. This show is hard-hitting and exciting. I really like Kamen Rider X's helmet design and how it pays homage to early Ishinomori with Skullman. I'm gonna put X Rider in B tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Amazon, a dark, violent, and hard-hitting series that's one of my favorite from the Showa era. This show is so different from the series that came before it, and its raw style just really entertains me. That being said, I can't put it in S because it's a little on the short side, so we're gonna put Kamen Rider Amazon in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Stronger. I like the electricity theme and the interactions between Stronger and Tackle. This show has historical importance because it was originally intended to be the final series. This was also the first Kamen Rider to have an upgraded form. That being said, I don't think it reaches the same heights as Kamen Rider 1 or Amazon, but it is a solid show, so we're gonna put it in B tier. Next up is Sky Rider. This show attempted to reboot Kamen Rider after it was away for a few years, and it had callbacks to earlier seasons and even a few of the classic riders. That being said, I don't think it's super memorable, and it was a little on the derivative side. The whole flight theme was interesting, but it didn't really add a ton to the show, and they even dropped it almost entirely halfway through the series. Sky Rider is gonna go in mid tier. Next up is Super 1. I love the sci-fi premise and the way that he swapped out his hands for different abilities, something that was a precursor to the later form changes. That, along with his martial arts training, gave him a unique combat identity, but I didn't find the story or the characters particularly strong, so Super 1 gets C tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Z-Cross, a short-lived Kamen Rider that celebrated the history of the franchise up to that point. It was more or less just a fun anniversary project that was entertaining but not really that groundbreaking as far as story goes. It was cool seeing all the riders together, but looking back on it from today, this is something that's happened many times, so I can't really rank it high just for that fact alone. I'm also not a huge fan of his suit design. We're gonna put Z-Cross in B tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Black, one of the most hyped series in Toku, but I think it's mostly justified. It's such an intense and classic story that has a ton of emotional weight in it. This show also has a great villain group, hard-hitting action, and one of my favorite suit designs. This is easily one of the greatest Toku series of all time. Easy S tier. Next up is Black RX, the final Showa-era TV series. This show continued the story of Kotaro Minami, but I think it took a lot of steps backwards. The story, villains, and suit design just aren't quite as good as in Kamen Rider Black. This show did add multiple forms, which has a ton of historical significance, and I think the action still delivered in a big way. That being said, we're gonna put RX in B tier. Next up is Shin Kamen Rider Prologue. This was a dark horror-inspired Toku film, and I even put it in my Toku for Horror Fans video last Halloween. This movie is clearly made for adults, with grotesque body horror, extreme violence, and a dark story that will absolutely hook you. This is one of my favorite Kamen Rider films of all time, and I'm gonna put it in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Zeztz. This was an exciting story with high stakes. I really like the suit design, and this movie did a good job helping to fill the gaps when there were no Rider seasons on TV. This is an entertaining film, but it's not one that I find myself wanting to go back to too often, so we're gonna put it in B tier.
Kamen Rider J!
Next up is Kamen Rider J, another standalone film from the time when Kamen Rider was on hiatus from TV. This one had more of a fantasy vibe, with a suit design that looked very similar to Kamen Rider Zett's. But Kamen Rider J has the ability to grow into a giant, which is super unique and cool to see. Kamen Rider J also goes to B tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Kuga, which was Kamen Rider's return to TV. This was the first Kamen Rider series in the Heisei era, and it brought Kamen Rider back to TV after an 11-year hiatus. I really like Yusuke as a character. I think the Gorongi are really cool. Kuga has one of the coolest tensions in all of Toku, and he has some awesome looking different forms, especially Ultimate Form. This is easily one of the most respected Toku series in history, and it's an easy choice for S tier. Next up is Agito, which was basically a sequel season to Kuga. I really like the multiple rider setup and how different each of the riders feels. I like how the series has a connection to Kuga, even though the continuity is a little bit weird sometimes. The multiple riders make this show really entertaining to watch, but it doesn't quite reach the same heights as Kuga does. I'm gonna put Agito in A. Next up is Kamen Rider Ryuki, and I really like the rider versus rider battles. I really like the concept of the mirror world, and I love how unique of an idea it is. I really enjoy the large cast of riders, and how their personalities are so different from one another. I also need to mention Oja, one of the most maniacal characters in the history of the franchise. This show has a really strong concept, and I like how it mixes things up at the end of the series. That being said, I don't think it's quite as good as Black or Kuga, so we're gonna put it in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Phase. I love the Smart Brain and Orphanox setup and the overall concept of rider gears. I think the story here is well thought out, and I enjoy the tech-focused rider designs. This show has a really strong cast, and it's just a really cool and memorable season with a strong identity. Phase is gonna go in A tier. Up next is Kamen Rider Blade. I like the playing card theme, and how the different riders represent different suits in a deck of cards. All of the suit designs for the different riders pretty much look awesome, and King Form is absolutely epic. I think the first intro on the series is hilarious, and the second intro is just cool. This is a really solid Kamen Rider series, and I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next up is Hibiki. I appreciate how unique it is, but this show suffers because it's basically two series in one, since some of the staff was replaced halfway through. When this show started out, it was very music focused, and there were a lot of things that were different from previous series. But when the switch happened, it started becoming more like traditional Kamen Rider series. I really like the Oni theme, the inclusion of their instruments, and the openings. I'm generally not a huge fan of tone shifts halfway through series, so I have to knock off some points for that. This show is interesting and different, but its inconsistency keeps it from ranking too high. Hibiki is mid-tier. Next up is Kabuto, a show with a great cast, including Soji himself, one of the coolest and most likable writers in the history of the franchise. This show also has the cast-off mechanic, so each rider basically has 2 layers of armor, something that was really unique and cool, and I like how all the different riders look very different from each other. It gives the show a ton of variety. Clock Up is a cool concept, and it creates some entertaining moments in the series. This show has really strong aesthetics, a strong identity, and it makes me hungry because of all of the cooking. Soji is super memorable because he's arrogant, cool, and weirdly entertaining at the same time. Kamen Rider Kabuto gets S tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Den-O, a show that was a cultural phenomenon within Japan. I really like the Imagine possession gimmick, the uniqueness of the Den liner, and this show's excellent comedic timing. This show is extremely successful, and I find it really charming. This show is just super easy to watch. We're gonna put it in A tier.
Kamen Rider, the first.
Next up is Kamen Rider the First, a film that took Kamen Rider Ichigo and placed him in the Heisei era. This movie did a great job adapting the source material, and it feels like a big budget action movie. I also really like what they did with the suit design. Kamen Rider the First is gonna go in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider The Next, another film but this time based on V3. This movie was also developed well, and I like this suit a lot better than the original, with another great cast and story. Kamen Rider The Next also goes in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Kiva. I love this show's campy horror angle, its dual timelines, the concept of the Fangires, and this is easily one of my favorite suit designs in the franchise. I also really like the arms monsters and the gothic vibes overall. The aesthetics and the concept just really worked for me here. This is a show that I usually watch every year around Halloween time. Kamen Rider Kiva goes to A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Decade. I really like the anniversary concept and the Riderverse structure, along with Tsukasa himself and all the fan service that this show delivers. Kamen Rider Decade's suit is so unique, and it's really grown on me over time. That being said, I have to knock off a few points because of how short this show is, and it feels more like a cool franchise event rather than a satisfying season. But we're gonna put Kamen Rider Decade in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider G, the wine-themed Kamen Rider, that to be honest I don't find super memorable. It is obviously very unique to have a wine-themed Kamen Rider, and the action in this special is entertaining to watch, but that's something I could say about most Kamen Rider projects. Beyond that, I don't find it particularly memorable, but it's also not offensively bad. We're gonna put G in mid-tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Double, a show that I've gushed about a lot on this channel. I love the detective vibes and the concept of 2 people sharing one rider body. Pretty much all of the characters are well acted and well written, and this show also has the Sonozaki family and museum. All of these characters are developed well and there's a ton of depth. The action is great, the suit design is easily one of my favorites, but I love green and purple so maybe I'm a little bit biased there. There's a ton of variety here with the different forms. This show has one of my favorite theme songs in the franchise, and Kamen Rider Double just ticks all the boxes. This is a show that I'm gonna watch until the day I die, and it goes in S tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Oz. I love Eiji, Ankh, and the medal system. Kogami-san is super entertaining and he adds a lot to the series. I love the whole story around birth and the multiple births. I think Dr. Maki is pretty cool, and all of the awesome combinations that Oz can create. This show pretty much has everything. Great characters, an excellent story, tons of cool forms, and one of the best secondary riders in the series. This show is also surprisingly emotional at times. I really see no flaws with Kamen Rider Oz, and it also gets S tier. Next is Kamen Rider Zeztz, and I love how unique, fun, and personality-driven this show is. Gintaro's charisma is off the charts, and it pairs well with Yuki's bubbly personality. The school and space theme works well for me, and I think the forms are wacky but also enjoyable to see. This show just has a fun energy that's super entertaining to watch. I'm gonna put Zeztz in A tier. Next up is Wizard. I really love this theme song, along with the magic theme, the ring-based transformations, and the elemental forms. I'm also a big fan of the mayonnaise-obsessed Kosuke, also known as Kamen Rider Beast. This show is really enjoyable and stylish, but not as strong in story or emotional pull as some of the higher-ranked series, so we're gonna put it in B tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Gaim. On the surface, this show seems like it's themed around dancing fruit samurai, but there's a much darker story underneath that. I really enjoy Kota, the visual creativity, and the power escalation. This show's gonna land high because it's charming, accessible, dark, and really memorable. Plus, I love samurai. Gaim goes to S tier. Next is Kamen Rider Drive. I really like the police theme and how this show is basically a tribute to Knight Rider. The cast was really good, especially Shinosuke, and I like the concept of the Special Investigations Unit, Slowdown, and Drive himself. This is a show that gets a lot of love in the community, and I really enjoy it, but not quite as much as the ones in S tier, so we're gonna put Drive at A. Next up is Kamen Rider Ghost. I really like the look of all the different riders and their henshins. A lot of people that I've talked to in the community see it as kind of a drag to get through, but for a show that I view as one of the worst Kamen Rider series, it's still pretty damn good, which is saying a lot for the franchise. Ghost is gonna go to C tier. It's mid. Next up is Kamen Rider Amazons, or Amazon Riders depending where you live. This show was of course a reboot of Kamen Rider Amazon, with a unique twist on the formula, and man is this show bloody and violent. The story is pretty interesting, and the characters are well acted, but that's not why you watch Kamen Rider Amazons. You watch this show for its dark tone and extreme violence, and for those things, it does really well. I'm gonna put Kamen Rider Amazons in B tier.
I'm a Kamen Rider.
Next up is Kamen Rider X-Aid. I really like the gaming doctor concept, and this show is super charming. I love how all their suits have an anime look to them, along with the level up system, and how varied and different the riders are from each other. I like the concept of the Bugsters and Gimcorp, all the different cool looking forms, and I really like Asuna as a character. This show is colorful, creative, and has a strong personality that works for me. I'm gonna put X-Aid in A tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Build. I love this show's science theme, the concept of Pandora's box, how the Skywall disaster sets up the story in a creative way, and Sento himself, a really charismatic and likable protagonist. This show also has excellent story, with a lot of time given to the side characters as well. This is a really strong season because of its story, world building, villains, and all the cool forms. Kamen Rider Build goes to S tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Gyo. I enjoyed the anniversary concept, the time theme, the concept of Omagyo, as well as Gaze and Tsukuyomi. It's cool seeing the throwback armor forms and other riders, and this show was a fun finale to the Heisei era. That being said, I don't think it's quite as strong as some of the S tier seasons, so we're gonna put it in A.
The sky turns to a rider kick.
Next up is Kamen Rider 01. I really like the AI and Humagear premise. I think MetsubouJinrai.net is one of the coolest villain factions ever, and all of the characters here are pretty well fleshed out. I really enjoy the interactions between Fua and Yaiba especially. This show's action reminds me a lot of anime, and if there was an anime fan out there that had never watched Toku before, this is probably the season I would point them to. This show has a lot of modern relevance, and it's a blast to watch. But unfortunately, the pandemic of 2020 shortened production of this show, so it falls a little flat towards the end. Kamen Rider 01 goes to A tier.
火炎剣劣化よろしくな
Next up is Kamen Rider Saber. This show has a whimsical fantasy theme with swords, knights, and a focus on books. I appreciate that it's a lighter change of pace after the pandemic, but I don't think the characters are as strong as some of the previous seasons. For what this show was trying to accomplish, it did it well, but Saber's light tone doesn't quite have the same impact as some of the stronger seasons. I'm gonna put it in mid-tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Revice. I enjoy the dual rider concept, the demon and family theme, and really just how Ikki and Vice interact with each other. This show brought a new style and vibe to the franchise, but I've made it no secret that I'm not a fan of the color scheme of these suits. That being said, the theme song is a banger, the villains are excellent, and this show is just really entertaining. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next up is Futo PI, an anime based on Kamen Rider Double. It ticks pretty much all the boxes that Double does, but in anime form. That being said, I don't think the story is quite as strong, but it's still really good. We're gonna put Futo PI in A tier.
Fight!
Next up is Kamen Rider Zeztz, another show that I've gushed about on this channel. I really like the Battle Royale setup, the concept of supporters and organizers from the future, and the Desire Grand Prix. Ace is easily one of the best protagonists in the franchise, just full of personality. Nago's story arc is incredible. We also have Keiwa's story development and how he changes so drastically over the course of the series. All of the different forms look awesome, and if you like shows with tons of different riders, this show definitely has that. This show has a strong theme and style, and the characters are all excellent. I'm gonna put Zeztz in S tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Black Sun, a show that's a bit divisive. I do have to admit that there were some odd choices made, with a heavy political focus, but the violence and action in this series is next level. If you can get through some of the slower parts, the action will absolutely pop off. I'm gonna put Black Sun in B tier. Next up is Shin Kamen Rider, a film I saw in the theater and I loved it. This movie did an excellent job of reimagining the original Kamen Rider, but they were extremely faithful to the source material. The story, the setting, the acting, it was all on point, and I loved the suit design. They didn't try to reimagine the suit, it was more like, what if the designers back then had access to modern materials? They didn't redesign the suit, they just put it together in a more modern way, and I really appreciate that. This movie is pure fan service, and I'm gonna put it in A tier.
Gotcha!
Next up is Gotchard. Ironically, I like the side characters here more than the main character. I like the concept of the Kimmies, but this show just didn't really land for me, honestly. I do like the alchemy concept, probably because of all the Full Metal Alchemist I watched back in the day, but I can't place this show super high. It's gonna go in mid tier. Next up is Kamen Rider Gav, a show with strong characters, a super interesting food concept, and some excellent looking forms. This show also seemed to be well liked by the community, so it's gonna go in A tier. Finally, we have Kamen Rider Zeztz, the current season. And since it's still going on, I can only base it on what I've seen so far, but I love the suit design, I love all the mystery in it, it's kind of a throwback to Double, and the dream concept is super unique. The characters are really strong, but not as strong as some of the characters in S, so to be fair, I'm gonna put it in B tier, but it might be higher over time. So there you have it, every Kamen Rider series in a tier list. Let me know what I got right or wrong in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, it would mean a ton to me if you smack the shit out of that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.